You rise before dawn, heart hammering in your chest, as you pry open the heavy wooden door into a world wrapped in shadow. Wolves prowl near the smoke hole, their eyes glinting in the faint pre-dawn mist. In the distance, the echoing beat of raiders' drums ripples across the fjord, a chilling reminder that danger lurks beyond the horizon. The barley fields lie, battered frost-bitten and broken, while the sky broods heavy with storm clouds, ready to drown the harvest. Each breath you take is sharp with cold and dread. Every moment on this Viking farm is a gamble with fate. The only certainty is fear. The pale mist curls around the timber longhouse, the first light catching the cold gleam of an iron blade resting nearby. A lone wolf's mournful howl pierces the silence as your trembling hand tightens around the worn iron sickle, knuckles whitening, breath clouding the chill air. The rasp of cold wind whistles through half-timbered walls, carrying the sour tang of damp straw and the distant toll of a church bell mourning last winter's dead. Tonight, we dig deep into the soil of terror that shaped every furrow, every harvest, and every heartbeat on the Viking farm. Dawn breaks cold and grey over the windswept homestead, ducklings heavy to thatched roofs, while livestock press tightly together in a cramped pen, restless and uneasy. Leif, the farmer, gaunt and weary, crouches near his door, tending a small brazier whose curling smoke forms a fragile barrier against the silent threat of prowling wolves. His eyes flick nervously toward the dark tree line, muscles taut as he prepares for what might come. Ingrid, the shield maiden, stands by the hearth, her cloak parted to reveal battle scars, axe poised in steady hands. Her sharp gaze sweeps the shadows, ready to strike at the first sign of danger. With deliberate care, Leif pours sizzling oil into a rigged pit trap, hidden beneath freshly laid turf, the faint hiss mingling with the whispering wind. The stakes beneath are sharpened and waiting. A distant war horn breaks the morning stillness, its grim call rolling over the valley. Farmhands burst from huts, snatching weapons and driving panicked cattle toward safer ground. Young Olaf clings tightly to his mother's skirt, his wide eyes reflecting the fear that even children learn before they can walk alone. The crackling fire, the moan of wind through bare branches, and the echo of that distant horn weave together a symphony of dread and preparation. Cut to black on Leif's whispered vow. No field is safe while war sails this coast. Today's farmers face the modern worries of drought forecasts, shifting markets, and occasional machinery breakdowns. Inside air-conditioned cabs, operators sip iced coffee as GPS systems guide them through perfectly mapped fields. A world away from the raw challenges of the past, a sleek combined harvester glides smoothly over vast, flat expanses, its engine humming softly as precision controls direct every movement. The cold condensation dripping from a drink contrasts sharply with the sun's heat outside. By contrast, Leif's plough is a world of grit and sweat. Drawn by oxen, it gouges uneven, rocky soil, each furrow a struggle. Close-ups reveal cracked, blistered hands gripping rough wooden handles, sweat-stinging eyes as he battles the unyielding earth. The scrape of wood against soil and the heavy labored breaths underscore the sheer physical toll of tilling land without modern tools. Modern farmers install barbed wire fences and electronic predator controls to protect their crops and livestock. Vikings, however, built wooden stockades and rigged concealed pits with sharpened stakes to guard against wolves and raiders alike. The camera shifts between the taut wire lines of today's fields and hidden traps camouflaged beneath turf and leaves. The quiet tension in these guarded perimeters is palpable, broken only by the soft crackle of leaves betraying hidden dangers below. We tend to view farming as steady, dependable labor. Yet Vikings lived each season under siege. Their fields were as vulnerable as their doorsteps, watched over by wary farmers standing alongside wooden watchposts. Distant shadows, flicker raiders, or predators waiting beyond sight. The low murmur of cautious voices blends with the biting cold wind, carrying whispered threats. For Vikings, agriculture was survival itself, bound tightly to fear and vigilance every moment. For Viking farmers, survival was a constant battle, each harvest fought on a front where nature, wild beasts, and human enemies threatened livelihood and life. Farmsteads were not mere homesteads, but fortified outposts, ringed by moats and sturdy wooden palisades designed to withstand siege and predation. Livestock pens doubled as last lines of defense, a physical barrier between the community and the dangers lurking beyond. From the dark forest edges, wolves, bears, and boars prowled with lethal intent, preying on animals and men alike. Farmers mastered traps and snares, pitfalls hidden beneath turf and jaws set to snap shut to turn predator against itself. Fierce guard dogs, trained and alert, patrolled the perimeters, their growls warning off shadows. The crack of trap jaws and the distant howl of wolves punctuated the long nights. Weather itself was a formidable foe. Drought could starve crops. Storms could drown fields. In response, farmers turned to the gods, performing solemn rites to Thor and Freya, offering sacrifices to invoke rain or sun. Runic omens carved on wooden staves guided decisions as fire crackled and voices murmured chants beneath brooding skies. Faith was both shield and strategy against nature's fury. Communal survival depended on vigilance. Rotating night watches kept eyes peeled. Signal fires flared on hilltops to warn of approaching raiders or beasts, and horn calls echoed across valleys, summoning defenders. These networks wove villages into tightly bound webs of mutual defense, where unity was as vital as courage. The whoosh of flames and sharp blast of horns stirred hearts and sharpened resolve. Experts reveal how fear shaped innovation. Archaeologists and historians trace defensive layouts, revealing communities that turned terror into tactical advantage. Each plowstroke was a gamble, each harvest a victory snatched from peril. Survival dictated design, cooperation, and relentless watchfulness. Prepare to enter a world where hedgerows hid snares. Stockades stood firm against storm and sword, and every moment demanded cunning and courage. Here, in the Viking countryside, every seed sown was a battle, won or lost. Drone surveys over Viking Age sites reveal expansive ring-ditch defenses encircling cultivated grain plots. These moats, sometimes plunging 2 meters deep, were reinforced with sturdy earthen embankments topped by sharpened wooden stakes that formed formidable barriers against raiders and wild beasts. Aerial footage traces the meandering ditches, while CGI overlays visualize how these palisades crowned the ramparts like ancient walls protecting vital food sources. The crunch of earth underfoot and the sharp glint of sharpened stakes recall a world where agriculture was inseparable from defense. Professor Eric Halverson explains. These systems turned fields into fortresses, agriculture and defense intertwined, reflecting a society where survival demanded fortification. Every furrow, every boundary was planned to safeguard not just crops, but the lifeblood of Viking communities, revealing an ingenious melding of farming and military strategy. Excavations at Viking settlements uncover the scars of violent conflict etched deep in stockade remnants. Archaeologists reveal layers of charred timber and rebuilt gates, telling tales of raids endured and resilience born. Each reconstruction bears witness to attack and defense timbers blackened by fire, soil disturbed by hurried repairs. Close-ups show the jagged edges of splintered beams and soot-stained posts, while cross-sections illustrate successive phases of fortification enhancement. The scent of burnt wood lingers in the imagination, evoking nights of fear and resolve. These physical traces form a narrative of community endurance. An expert notes, each rebuild tells a story of survival and resilience, where villagers learned to adapt, reinforce, and reclaim their lands after every threat. The repeated labor of repair underscores a Viking ethos, where persistence was as vital as weaponry. In peat bog excavations, archaeologists unearth sophisticated predator trap pits lined with sharpened stakes designed to ensnare wolves and bears, threatening livestock and humans. Detailed analysis of bone assemblages shows remnants of trapped animals, while rusted stakes and traces of rope nooses indicate carefully engineered mechanisms. The damp, earthy scent of peat mingles with the imagined snap of trap jaws. Diagrams overlay the site, illustrating how these concealed pits exploited predator behavior. Dr. Ingrid Sorensen explains, farmers were expert wildlife managers, mastering the habits and movements of dangerous beasts. These traps represent more than desperation. They showcase strategic knowledge applied to rural defense. The evidence highlights an ongoing battle where human ingenuity met the relentless threat of nature, with survival hinging on such lethal countermeasures. Near trap sites, scattered seeds of wolfbane aconitum, a potent poison, suggest that Vikings supplemented physical traps with chemical warfare against predators. Under magnification, the seeds reveal toxic beauty, their sharp scent hinting at deadly power. Reenactments depict the careful preparation of poisons from crushed leaves, likely applied to bait or weapon tips. This toxic arsenal augmented the rural defense system, incapacitating animals that threatened flocks and farms. An expert notes, wolfbane was a lethal weapon in the rural defense toolkit, blending natural knowledge with tactical application. The presence of these seeds in archaeological contexts confirms a calculated approach to managing predator risks, combining physical traps with biochemical deterrence. This lethal ingenuity underscores the deadly stakes Viking farmers faced in securing their livelihoods against encroaching dangers. Night pens built within longhouse courtyards provided secure shelters for livestock, shielding them from nocturnal predators and thieves. Excavations revealed the structural remains of sturdy wooden enclosures positioned near human dwellings, maximizing vigilance. Nearby, dog skeletons, often buried with care, served not only as faithful guardians in life, but as symbolic protectors in death, embodying the role of spiritual sentinels. The gentle murmur of penned animals and the soft earth over these canine graves evoke a deep connection between humans and their guard companions. Experts emphasize guard dogs protected both flesh and spirit, embodying loyalty that transcended mortality. These pens and guardian burials illustrate a comprehensive system of livestock defense, blending practical security with ritual reverence. This dual protection highlights the importance of animals in both material and spiritual survival on the Viking farmstead. Pollen analysis from field sites reveals that sowing and planting dates aligned closely with lunar cycles, suggesting ritual timing designed to invoke favorable weather. Rune-carved offering stones found in fields, often bearing traces of blood and mead in ceramic residues, testify to sacrificial rites intended to secure rain or sun. Visuals show pollen layers under microscopes juxtaposed with farmers performing solemn rituals beneath open skies, chanting invocations to gods like Thor and Freya. The whisper of wind through ripening crops and flickers of ritual fires evoke a spiritual landscape intertwined with agriculture. Experts observe faith and farming blended in celestial timing, where ritual ensured not only physical growth but divine favor. This fusion of natural observation and spiritual practice highlights a worldview where weather and destiny were negotiated through sacred acts as much as seasonal knowledge. Archaeologists and historians interpret Viking agricultural landscapes as complex systems of defense as much as cultivation. Interviews reveal how ring ditches, palisades, traps, and ritual offerings formed a multi-layered fortification network. Visual overlays of defensive structures, coupled with experts examining artifacts, illustrate how fear drove innovation. Dr. Sorensen explains, every trap, fence, and offering was a layer of protection against an unforgiving world. Professor Halvorsen adds, these agricultural defenses echo medieval military engineering. Farming was both sustenance and strategy. Together, these insights reveal Viking farms as battlegrounds where survival demanded vigilance, cooperation, and clever adaptation. The fusion of archaeology and history uncovers a landscape where the struggle to cultivate was inseparable from the struggle to defend. A 3D animated overlay maps the labyrinth of ring ditches, trap networks, and palisaded boundaries, revealing how vigilance and fear shaped every contour of the Viking landscape. The animation fades to peaceful aerial shots of green fields beneath open skies, reminding viewers that beneath the pastoral calm lay centuries of survival strategy. The closing narration reflects on these lands. Survival was engineered into every blade of grass, a testament to communities who lived their fear and fought for every harvest. This visual synthesis closes the chapter on the deep interconnection between agriculture, defense, and human resilience in Viking life. Before the first light, the village is cloaked in mist and silence. Leif the farmer and Ingrid the shield maiden move cautiously along the perimeter of the wooden stockade. Their footsteps soft on damp earth. The embers of last night's fire glow faintly in the chill air, casting flickering shadows against the rough-hewn timbers. Fresh wolf tracks press into the mud, a stark reminder of the lurking dangers. Leif pauses, eyes scanning the dark tree line, muscles tense and ready. Ingrid's breath clouds before her, axe at the ready, as the wind carries the distant howl of a wolf. The night is a fragile line between safety and threat. Every sound is magnified, the crackle of dying embers, the faint crunch of footsteps on leaves. Fear sharpens their senses, binding the two in silent resolve. In this moment before dawn, vigilance is their only shield, and the shadowed world beyond waits with hungry patience. Sigrid the elder moves with purposeful grace to the village gateposts as first light tinges the horizon. With steady hands, she scatters consecrated salt and finely crushed bone dust, tokens of protection and connection to ancestors. The white granules catch the flickering torchlight, dusting the weathered wood in a ghostly sheen. A faint scent of incense lingers on the air, mingling with the grit of salt on her skin. This ancient ritual is both safeguard and invocation, a spiritual barrier against unseen evils and raiders alike. Villagers watch respectfully, understanding the power woven into these small acts. Sigrid murmurs words lost to time, binding the community with invisible threads of faith and tradition. Each sprinkle is a prayer, each gesture a call for protection. These sacred safeguards do not merely stand at the threshold, they hold the line between life and destruction, rooting the village in resilience. The sun rises higher, casting lengthening shadows across the fields. Oxen strain against wooden yokes, dragging plows that gouge the rocky soil. Their ears twitch at the distant, haunting baying echoing from the forest edge. Leaf wipes sweat from his brow, hands rough and blistered, his gaze restless. Every furrow turned is a test of endurance and vigilance. Farming here is a battle as much as labor. Villagers move steadily, but tension hangs like a veil. The forest's edge could conceal wolves or raiders at any moment. The scrape of plowshares against soil is punctuated by rustling leaves and snapping twigs. This is a landscape where nature and menace intermingle, demanding constant alertness. The steady rhythm of work masks an undercurrent of fear each day's survival uncertain. Yet, even amid this unease, the community pushes forward, driven by the hope of harvest and the will to endure. Young Olaf darts along the tangled lines of hidden traps, his small hands nimble and careful as he inspects each one. The snap of twigs and the faintest rustle of fur signal life caught beyond the village boundary. Today, a rabbit is ensnared, a small but vital proof that their defenses extend into the wilderness. Olaf's face brightens with quiet pride as he gently frees the creature, watching it scurry back into the brush. The trap's mechanism is revealed, a clever design of bent branches and cordage, honed through generations. The child's footsteps crunch softly on fallen leaves, learning the delicate balance of vigilance and mercy. This daily ritual teaches more than survival. It passes on knowledge, courage, and respect for the land's fierce demands. Olaf's youthful eyes reflect the weight of legacy, as he steps into a world where childhood and duty intertwine beneath looming threats. In the cool shade of the village square, Sigrid gathers the elders and villagers to read the runes carved on slender birch sticks. The flickering light casts dancing shadows on their faces, lined with worry and hope. Her hands move with practiced certainty, turning each stick as she interprets signs of rain, sun, or impending raids. The murmured prayers of the crowd blend with the soft clink of wooden cups filled with weak medicine, offering to steady nerves and bind the community in shared faith. Ingrid stands vigilant by the grain store door, axe ready yet calm. The ritual is a moment of collective breath, a pause between fear and action. The rustling of leaves overhead and the gentle murmur of voices create a sacred atmosphere where the spiritual meets the practical. Here, belief fuels resilience, and the village finds strength in the ancient language of symbols. Under the hot sun, villagers come together to repair the stockade walls that shield their homes and fields. Hammer strikes echo as worn timber is replaced and stakes sharpened to deadly points. Hands work tirelessly, gripping tools, weaving rope, and fitting wood with grim determination. Dust swirls in the warm air, mixing with the scent of freshly cut wood and sweat. Children watch from safe corners, learning the vital craft of defense. This communal labor is both practical and symbolic, a tangible act of resistance against the relentless threats outside. Villagers exchange terse words and knowing glances, united in purpose. Their strength lies not only in individual skill, but in collective resolve. Each replaced plank is a promise renewed, each sharpened stake a vow to protect the fragile peace they cling to. Women gather in small groups, their fingers deftly weaving rosehips and wolfbane into garlands hung at the corners of the stockade. The bright red berries and deep green leaves contrast sharply with the weathered wood, symbols of hope and protection. The prick of thorny stems punctuates their careful work, mingling with the sweet, herbal scent rising from the fresh foliage. These garlands are more than decoration. They are spiritual talismans, believed to ward off evil and misfortune. Elders recount stories of how such rituals have shielded the village through generations of hardship. The rhythmic motion of weaving intertwines with whispered blessings and quiet songs, embedding faith and resilience into each loop and knot. As the garlands take shape, a palpable sense of hope fills the air, a tangible weaving of ritual and daily life. As dusk descends, villagers gather to drive livestock into courtyard pens, herding cattle and sheep through narrow gates with gentle but firm hands. Torches are lit along the stockade, their flickering flames casting long shadows that dance against timber walls. The low murmur of animals mixes with the crackling of fire, creating a soundscape of guarded calm. Men and women move with practiced efficiency, their faces set with quiet determination. The scent of smoke and earth mingles in the cooling air. Each torch stands as a sentinel against night's dangers, lighting the way and signaling vigilance. This nightly ritual is a reaffirmation of life's fragile hold, a communal gesture of protection as darkness deepens. The livestock's soft murmurs and the steady glow of flame weave together in a rhythm of survival and care. Young Olaf takes a deep breath and raises a wooden horn to his lips, blowing a sharp, piercing call that echoes across the village. The sound cuts through the settling evening, commanding attention and signaling readiness. Nearby sentries nod approvingly, recognizing the boy's progress in mastering the vital alarm. Practice sessions are frequent, blending discipline with youthful enthusiasm, teaching Olaf the responsibility he will soon bear. Each blast is a call not just to arms, but to community cohesion. The sharpness of the horn contrasts with the calm that follows, a reminder that vigilance must be constant. Olaf's cheeks flush with effort, eyes shining with pride. Through these moments, the boy steps from childhood toward the mantle of protector, learning courage and duty beneath the watchful eyes of his elders. As thick fog curls low through the valley, Ingrid and two fellow militia stand watch beneath lantern light, their eyes piercing the creeping darkness. The night air is damp and heavy, carrying distant, mournful wolf howls that echo over the hills. Lantern flames flicker against the swirling mist, casting eerie shadows that dance on the wooden palisades. The patrol moves slowly and silently, muscles tense with anticipation. Every crack of twig or rustle of leaf sets hearts pounding. The chill of dampness seeps through layers of clothing, sharpening senses in the oppressive silence. This nightly vigilance is an unending vigil against threats both natural and human. Ingrid's steady gaze scans the tree line, the weight of responsibility etched on her face. In this ghostly watch, the village's fragile peace hangs by a thread, held firm by unwavering watchfulness. Back by the hearth, Leif's restlessness consumes him. His axe is clenched tightly, knuckles white as shadows flicker across his weathered face. Sleep evades him, chased away by memories of past raids and wolf attacks. The crackle of burning wood is both comforting and haunting in the silent room. His gaze darts toward every dark corner, muscles coiled like a spring, ready to snap. The weight of survival presses heavily on his chest, fear and resolve intertwined. He listens intently for any sound outside, but finds only the muted rhythm of his own breathing. This restless night is a reminder that while daylight brings toil, darkness brings the ever-present threat. For Leif, vigilance is both a burden and a shield. Fear has kept him alive, but never allowed peace to settle fully. The village breathes with a rhythm shaped by work and worry. The clang of iron tools echoes through the air, punctuated by the distant, eerie howls of wolves lurking at the forest's edge. Sweat mixed with ash stings skin as villagers labor tirelessly from dawn to dusk. The gritty scent of sawdust and earth fills the nostrils, blending with the sharp bite of cold morning air. Every movement is measured and deliberate, woven into the fabric of survival. Children dart through narrow lanes, their laughter a fragile thread of normalcy against a backdrop of constant threat. The flickering sun casts shifting shadows across worn timber and thatched roofs, a daily dance of light and dark. This sensory tapestry tells a story of endurance, fear, and the resilience of a community bound together by both toil and terror. As the first stars pierce the deepening sky, Leif sits beside the dying embers, axe resting against his weathered knee. His eyes scan the darkness beyond the firelight, sharp and alert. The hush of night settles over the village, broken only by distant owl calls and the occasional rustle of leaves. Fear, ever present, is a constant companion and unyielding force that both guards and haunts. Yet, within this tension lies resilience, a stubborn refusal to surrender. Leif's steady breath grounds him, a rhythm of determination and survival. In these quiet moments of vigil, courage is forged daily, tempered by hardship and hope. Here, between shadow and flame, the Viking spirit endures, unbroken and unwavering. Inside the communal hall, shields and spears hang like silent sentinels, their weathered surfaces bearing the scars of past battles. The flickering firelight casts restless shadows on the timber-bird walls, breathing life into these steadfast guardians. The scent of aged wood and iron fills the space, a constant reminder of the ever-present threat lurking beyond the village. These weapons are more than tools, they are symbols etched into daily life, embedding vigilance into every moment. Villagers move among them with a mixture of reverence and wariness, aware that danger is never far. The shields remind all who see them that peace is fragile, and readiness is a necessity. This tangible display turns fear into focus, shaping a culture where survival is intertwined with ritual and preparedness. Every scratch and dent tells a story, anchoring the community's resolve and weaving a thread of unyielding watchfulness into their shared existence. As night falls, the village gathers around the fire, voices low but resolute. Feast-time pledges echo through the night, binding neighbors in solemn promises to stand guard and protect each other. Rotating watches are assigned, each sentry taking turns pacing the palisade walls under the cloak of darkness. The rhythmic thump of footsteps on soft earth blends with whispered vows, transforming individual anxiety into collective strength. The murmur of voices becomes a chorus of trust, where fear is not a weakness but the glue holding the community together. Men and women alike shoulder the weight of responsibility, knowing that their vigilance could mean the difference between survival and devastation. This shared dread forges unbreakable pacts, turning the village into a fortress of solidarity. Here, fear does not divide. It unites, shaping bonds stronger than timber or stone. In sacred silence, the village seer casts runes on birch sticks, their wooden surfaces worn smooth by generations. Each symbol carries weightaments of rain, sun, or impending danger, guiding the hearts of those who watch. Nearby, bloodied offerings of animal sacrifice rest upon altars, their scent sharp and raw in the cool air. Villagers gather to swear sacred oaths, their voices steady despite the tremor of fear beneath. These rituals give form and control to anxiety, transforming the chaotic unknown into tangible acts of hope and protection. The soft clatter of runes and the scent of sacrifice weave together into a potent tapestry of communal power. Fear is no longer a shadow lurking unseen. It becomes ritualized, harnessed to strengthen bonds and steady nerves. Through these ancient ceremonies, dread is alchemized into purpose, an emotional compass guiding survival. Around firelights, warm glow, elders recount tales of wolf attacks and raiding parties, their voices rising and falling in rhythm with flickering flames. Children listen wide-eyed, absorbing lessons of caution and courage passed down through countless generations. These ballads and sagas are more than stories. They are living memory, embedding fear as a vital tool for survival. Each narrative carries warnings, teaching the young to recognize threats and respect the wilderness. The crackle of firewood punctuates the cadence, while the night air hums with ancient echoes. In these moments, fear is shared heritage woven into the fabric of identity. This oral tradition turns anxiety into wisdom, a bridge between past and future. As tales are passed from mouth to ear, they reinforce communal resilience, reminding all that vigilance is a legacy handed down with love and necessity. In the village landscape, defense is visibly marked by social standing. Wealthier farmers erect towering stockades with reinforced gates and sharpened timbers. Their homesteads formidable bastions against intrusion. Simpler farms rely on hastily assembled palisades, vulnerable but necessary. The sharp snap of freshly cut wood echoes as beams are fitted and walls raised, each structure a statement of power and protection. Defense here is as much political as practical a reflection of wealth and influence. The strongest walls not only guard possessions but assert status, signaling a farmer's place within the community. This hierarchy is etched in timber and earth, intertwining social order with survival. Protection becomes a visible marker, where the lines of defense also trace the lines of rank. In this way, fear and power shape the very silhouette of the village. Dr. Sigrid Thompson, a cultural psychologist, explains how Viking communities transformed raw fear into structured vigilance through ritual. By ritualizing their anxiety, she notes, villagers converted paralyzing terror into actionable behaviors that fostered group cohesion and readiness. The repeated ceremonies, night watches, oaths, and symbolic displays served to channel collective dread into practical defense. Visuals show villagers exchanging solemn vows around fires, reenactments of watch rotations, and symbolic rituals reinforcing solidarity. The rhythmic beating of drums and the chanting of oaths become a shared language of courage. This process turned fear from a private burden into a communal force, weaving it into the social fabric. Rather than succumbing to panic, communities harnessed fear as motivation, strengthening bonds and ensuring survival. It was a delicate alchemy of emotion and action. Fear became both shield and unifier. Every night vigil held beneath watchful eyes, every fence repaired with care, was an act of unity. Villagers rested together by flickering firelight, sharing the warmth of companionship amid the chill of fear. Hands grasped tools and weapons, not only as means of defense, but as symbols of shared responsibility. The gentle hum of whispered conversations blended with the crackling flames, crafting a cocoon of mutual support. This daily interplay of fear and solidarity forged social bonds vital for survival. The warmth of firelight softened the sharp edges of dread, turning it into collective strength. Scenes show hands joined in reassurance, tired faces illuminated by torchlight, and sentries nodding in silent understanding. In this shared space, fear lost its power to isolate, and instead became the thread stitching the community together. It was in this delicate balance that survival thrived. In the dimming light of evening, the village settles beneath a canopy of stars, their fortified walls standing silent yet resolute. Fear, ever present, is no longer a mere shadow, but a force that has shaped identity and belonging. Each night vigil, every repaired stockade plank, speaks of pacts made in the face of danger, promises etched into wood and stone. The soft rustle of leaves and the distant howl of wolves serve as reminders of the thin line between safety and peril. Yet within this tension lies profound purpose, a living shield crafted by a community bound through shared dread and unwavering resolve. Fear was the forge from which courage was hammered, a crucible of solidarity and survival. As stars emerge overhead, the village breathes as one fear transformed into strength, isolation into unity. This is the legacy of the Viking farmer's heart. Beneath the seeming calm of farmstead boundaries lay a network of shallow pits, expertly concealed beneath brush and foliage. These pit traps were silent sentinels, designed to snare not only wild predators like wolves and bears, but also unwelcome human intruders. A cutaway animation reveals camouflaged pits lined with sharpened stakes, ready to immobilize any who stumbled in. The snap of concealed branches and the muffled fall into darkness transformed the landscape into a deadly maze. Archaeological evidence shows that these traps were carefully maintained, signifying their importance as the first warning line of defense. Professor Leif Gunnarsson highlights these traps were the community's quiet guardians, deadly but discreet, protecting life without a shout. Hidden beneath the earth, the pit traps stand as a testament to a mindset where fear drove ingenuity, turning the very ground beneath one's feet into a shield against danger. Hidden beneath homes and stockades, subterranean tunnels snaked their way towards secret springs and dense forest cover, providing villagers with covert escape routes in times of siege or plague. Archaeological digs reveal narrow tunnel entrances camouflaged beneath floorboards or concealed by earthen mounds. CGI animations trace these labyrinthine paths winding through the soil, offering lifelines when danger closed in. The damp, earthy scent of these tunnels and the cautious echo of footsteps speak to the tension and hope tied to these hidden ways. In desperate moments, these passages were salvation aiding escape from raiders or containment of disease. Their existence shows a strategic depth to village defense beyond surface walls. Emotional undertones of hope and fear intertwine as villagers relied on these lifelines to survive. Professor Gunnarsson explains, these escape passages were silent promises, hidden routes that preserved life when all else seemed lost. Across rugged ridges and dense forests, beacon fires blazed in carefully choreographed sequences, their flames licking the night sky as urgent messages. Horn blasts, coded with precise rhythms, pierced the stillness, each pattern signaling calls for reinforcements or warnings of impending attack. Visuals show beacon fires erupting atop hills, smoke twisting against the stars, while close-ups capture horn players blowing sharp, resonant calls that carried across valleys. The crackle of flames and the sharp call of horns became a silent language of survival, linking scattered farmsteads into a cohesive network of defense. Villagers knew that one misfire could mean disaster, so training and precision were vital. This ancient communication system exemplified collective vigilance, uniting communities through sound and light. It was a code of life and death, notes, an expert voice, a language forged by necessity and fear. Within granaries and hidden alcoves, axes, spears, and shields were carefully stored on concealed racks, ready to be seized in moments of silent threat. Visual reconstructions reveal weapon caches hidden beneath layers of straw or behind false walls, providing swift access during night raids or surprise attacks. The cold weight of steel is palpable as hands grasp weapons hastily, the scrape of wood echoing as racks slide open. This readiness was more than practicality. It was a communal ritual, instilling calm amid chaos. The proximity of weapons underscored the constant tension villagers lived with. Preparedness was a daily necessity. In times when every second counted, these hidden arsenals saved lives. Emotional undertones of urgency and resilience underscore the importance of this silent readiness. Preparedness was survival's heartbeat, an expert reflex, and every weapon at hand was a lifeline. The Viking homestead was no mere dwelling, it was a fortress. Cross-sectional visuals show thickened timber walls, reinforced with hidden compartments, vantage points for lookouts, and concealed escape hatches. Every plank and post served dual roles, providing shelter and repelling foes. The dense timber's solidity resonates underfoot, footsteps echoing in enclosed spaces designed as much for defense as comfort. Architectural choices blurred the lines between home and battleground, seamlessly integrating daily life with security. Professor Gunnarsson emphasizes these structures were born of constant threat, every design choice rooted in the need for protection. This fusion created living spaces where safety was ever present, yet unobtrusive homes that concealed their fortifications beneath layers of hearth and homely warmth. The complexity of these designs reflects a community deeply entwined with fear, transforming their environment into a bulwark against chaos. Beyond visible fortifications, passive defenses worked silently. Pit traps, concealed escape routes, and sharpened stakes camouflaged beneath turf. Animated overlays highlight how these systems lay hidden beneath ordinary surfaces, transforming the landscape into a lethal puzzle for trespassers. The quiet shift of earth and the unseen edges of sharpened stakes created a barrier that was deadly precisely because it was invisible. This stealth was the community's greatest weapon and noticed until it was too late. Dr. Ingrid Falk explains their passive defenses were designed to be subtle yet effective, working quietly in the background, protecting without alarm. The ingenuity lay in invisibility. The defense was everywhere and nowhere at once, a ghostly presence guarding the village. This unseen network created psychological as well as physical barriers, deterring would-be intruders through fear of the unknown. Invisible yet potent, these defenses epitomize strategic patience and forethought. Archaeologists and engineers marvel at the complexity and integration of these hidden systems, recognizing how fear drove innovation. Interviews with experts are intercut with detailed site maps and reconstructions, illustrating how every plank, pit, and passage served a vital purpose. Professor Gunnarsson reflects, fear was the catalyst that shaped every corner of these homes. No detail was too small when survival was at stake. Dr. Falk adds, this architecture wasn't just about defense, it was about psychological warfare, a subtle message to intruders. Their combined insights reveal a society that transformed anxiety into actionable design, creating homesteads that were both sanctuaries and traps. The depth of planning and craftsmanship shows a community adapting constantly to threat, turning fear into the foundation of resilience. These innovations reflect not only physical security but a profound understanding of human psychology and the environment. A slow, immersive zoom travels through an animated cross-section of a Viking village, revealing layers of pit traps snapping shut, twisting escape tunnels, and shadowed weapon caches. Water channels glisten beneath floorboards, while shafts funnel hot air skyward. The interplay of these systems unfolds like a symphony of survival, silent, precise, and deadly. The soft murmur of earth shifts accompanies the visuals, evoking a living pulse beneath hearth and field. This blueprint of fear and resilience is a hidden architecture mastered in shadow and steel, woven into the very fabric of daily life. As the camera pulls back, The village rests beneath a twilight sky, peaceful yet guarded. The closing line echoes, hidden beneath hearth and field. Survival was an unseen art, mastered in shadow and steel. Where Vikings once built sturdy stockades and relied on constant vigilance, today's rural homes are protected by smart locks, automated gates, and surveillance cameras, technologies that replace muscle with microchips, but not the primal instinct to guard. Visuals contrast the solid wooden palisades of Viking settlements with sleek, modern electric fences pulsing softly under sensor lights. The soft beep of alarm systems and the sharp glare of security cameras punctuate the stillness. These advancements continue the ancient drive to defend hearth and home. Evolving with each generation, Dr. Emma Clark remarks, fear fuels innovation, whether it's timber or tech. Despite the digital veneer, the underlying impulse remains unchanged. A community and families need to create safe space in a world of uncertainty, ensuring protection through any means necessary. Modern wildlife management teams employ humane traps, relocation, and monitoring technologies to manage predators. Echoing the Viking reliance on fierce guardian dogs and wolf traps, wildlife officers are shown setting up traps and observing animal behavior, paralleling archival footage of watchful dogs barking at forest edges. The low growl of dogs and the quiet snap of traps are auditory backdrops, connecting past and present. This enduring relationship between humans and animals reveals a continuity of strategy, managing risk while respecting natural cycles. Emotional undertones remind us that fear of predators is ancient but managed with evolving sophistication. This balance of defense and coexistence reflects a timeless need to protect livestock and livelihoods without unnecessary harm. Neighborhood watch apps now provide instant alerts of suspicious activity, forming digital networks of communal protection. This modern connectivity mirrors Viking use of horn blasts and signal fires, which transmitted warnings across rugged landscapes. Screens displaying app notifications cut to reenactments of beacon fires blazing atop hills, smoke twisting skyward, and horn players signaling with precision. The ping of a phone replaces the crackle of flames, yet both serve the same purpose: uniting community members in vigilance. Sociologist Dr. Navin Patel notes, technology changes, but community bonds endure. The human need to communicate danger swiftly and coordinate defense has persisted, evolving from smoke and sound to data and networks, always reinforcing social cohesion. Modern flood defenses rely on levees, pumps, and sophisticated monitoring systems to protect farmland and settlements. Much like medieval farmers constructed ditches, banks, and water channels to shield their fields from nature's fury. Visual juxtapositions show roaring floodwaters held back by modern barriers, alongside archaeological excavations revealing medieval earthworks. The rush of floodwater and the rhythmic pounding of workers raising embankments resonate as sounds of human resilience. Both eras exemplify humanity's refusal to be passive against the elements, engineering solutions tailored to their times. Emotional resonance lies in the shared determination to survive and thrive despite climate's unpredictability, a timeless dance between nature and human ingenuity. Experts emphasize that fear has consistently driven human innovation. From Viking hidden trapdoors to today's advanced security technologies, interviews intercut with footage of medieval fortifications and modern smart home systems illustrates this continuum. Dr. Emma Clark reflects, fear is the seed of invention. Sociologist Dr. Navin Patel adds, protection is a social pact transcending eras. Their insights reveal that fear is not merely a source of anxiety, but a catalyst for creativity and social bonding. This shared emotional impetus fuels innovations that safeguard communities and foster cooperation. Whether through primitive traps or digital sensors, the fundamental need to protect life and property remains a powerful, unifying force shaping human progress. Beneath the layers of technology lies a shared human imperative: to protect hearth, kin, and community. Visuals weave together modern families locking doors and medieval villagers gathering round fires, showing overlapping expressions of care and vigilance. The warmth of home fires and the quiet reassurance of watchful eyes underscore this timeless bond. Emotional undercurrents reveal fear softened by solidarity where collective vigilance transforms dread into strength. This social pact, binding individuals into protective networks, reveals that regardless of era or tools, humans rely on community to face uncertainty. The instinct to defend loved ones through shared effort and trust echoes across centuries, affirming that protection is as much a psychological need as a physical one. Modern homes seamlessly blend digital security with ancient instincts technology, layered atop primal drives to guard space and loved ones. Visuals show a family setting, smart home controls before locking doors, intercut with historical reenactments of Vikings readying their defenses. The tap of a touchscreen contrasts with the creak of wooden gates, highlighting continuity through change. Expert voices emphasize that new tools do not erase old fears but evolve them, adapting the age-old quest for safety to current realities. This coexistence reflects human adaptability, where tradition informs innovation and instincts guide technology. Defense becomes a living practice, integrating past wisdom with future possibilities to protect what matters most. From Viking stockades to modern smart homes, the message is unmistakable. Thriving requires defending what we love through fear, innovation, and community. A montage transitions from rugged medieval villages bathed in twilight to peaceful modern rural homes illuminated by soft screen glows. The soft breeze and distant flickers of fire and technology blend, symbolizing a continuum of care. Closing sensory details evoke the gentle rustle of leaves and the comforting hum of security systems. The narrative ends on a resonant note. In every age, defense is the heartbeat of home. This timeless truth reminds us that though methods evolve, the fundamental drive to protect remains the foundation of human resilience and belonging. The sun sets over a fortified farmstead, casting long shadows across the land. Cow bones hang from the palisade's ancient talismans, warding off evil as torchlight flickers, illuminating the sturdy wooden stakes that have stood watch for generations. The air is thick with the scent of smoke and earth, a reminder of countless nights spent vigilant against unseen threats. Leif the farmer stands silently at his post, axe in hand, eyes fixed on the grazing sheep, yet always alert to the forest's edge. His posture is weary, but resolute, a man forged by fear and forged stronger through it. Each night spent guarding the fields was a testament to his community's resilience, a pact of survival that wove every neighbor into a living shield. Across centuries, a modern homeowner taps her smart home app, locking doors from afar. She breathes easier, knowing her digital defenses echo the caution of her Viking ancestors. Though the tools have changed from sharpened stakes to encrypted signals, the impulse remains. Protect what is dear, prepare for the unknown, and find strength in unity. From wooden walls to wireless networks, fear drives innovation, but it also builds connection. Viking farmers taught us that vigilance is not just about defense, but about belonging and enduring power found in standing together. So next time you lock your door or draw your curtains tight, remember, every safeguard you take is a bridge to those who guarded the fields before us, lighting torches against the darkness, standing vigilant against fear. A single torch flare fades on the palisade light, piercing the night, resilience shining bright.